Hello and welcome to Sampson Judo. Today we thought we'd answer some frequently asked questions, and a lot of people ask me, how did I start Judo and why did I start Judo? So we thought it's best we go on live and actually explain to you how I ended up practicing Judo. It was back in 1974, actually it was 1973 when the Sobel Sports Centre opened up its doors to the public. The Sobel Centre functioned for about a year. I was 14 years old, and back in 74 my family was very poor. We didn't have a lot of money, and I was always very curious to see what's inside the centre. Me and two of my friends one afternoon decided to break into the Sobel because we had no money to pay for admission. We was very keen to look what's inside. We decided to find a way in, but we actually managed to break into a couple of doors. We've managed to force them open. Unfortunately, as we forced them open and as soon as we entered, we set off the alarms. And it wasn't long before the security men saw us at the end of the corridor and started running after us. We could have run out of the centre, or we could have run into the centre. We decided to run into the centre. Don't know why. So we had the security men running after us, and cut the story short, after running around in the corridors, I remember seeing a door, and I decided to kick the door open just to get away from the security men. As I kicked the door open, I was surprised that the door swung open. It wasn't actually shut, and as I walked in, somebody grabbed me behind my collar and practically lifted me off the floor, and there was a gentleman who happened to be in a white suit who ended up being my instructor, my sensei. His name was Alan From, and he was one of the most influential teachers I've ever come across. I made out that my friend pushed me through the door, and my initial plan was to keep him talking so I could end up staying in the room so the security men would actually pass by the room, and I didn't want to go out there because I would get caught. So I remember seeing this funny word on the door which said dojo. So I asked him what the dojo meant and kept him talking. Alan was very reluctant to talk to me. He knew I'd been messing around, but he took a chance and explained to me what the word dojo meant. And I asked him what he was wearing, and I went into questions. What does he do? And he said he does judo. So I kept him talking. What does judo mean? And he started to explain to me what judo meant. To be honest with you, 90% of the stuff went through one ear and out the other ear. I had no intention of, but didn't really care. I just wanted to stay in that room as long as possible so I didn't get caught. Anyway, after we'd finished our conversation and I got a right telling off as well about my behaviour, he let me leave the room. I managed to sneak out the room and make my way out of the Sobel with my friends, and I ended up going back home. On the way home, I kept remembering some of the things that Alan said, and some of the things I took in sounded very exciting because I was always a fighter. I always liked fighting. I was always involved in many scruffs and situations. It seemed like fighting just always ended up dropping on my laptop, and I've always been fighting with everyone and anybody. So the aspect of fighting kept ringing in my ear, and some of the stuff he told me sounded really interesting. I don't know why, but I remembered it very vividly what it was all about. That same evening, I also remembered there was a session that evening, and it was a Monday night. I pestered my father relentlessly until he managed to agree to give me a little bit of money, and this time I actually went to the Sobel back. I paid my admission, and to Alan's sheer horror, saw me walk into his dojo. He did not expect me to come back in a million years. So he was very pleased and very shocked that I'd actually turned up and asked to practice that evening, the same evening that I got caught. I remember he brought me a judo suit, and the suit looked like it was 200 years old. It was half my size, it was ripped to pieces, and it looked like the dogs had been at it. It was such a rough suit, and the trousers were so short. And that was it. I started my first judo lesson, and Alan's first reaction was, he said, "You've done judo before?" I said, no, I've never done judo before. I don't even know what judo is. And he said, well, how do you know what to do? I never showed you how to do this. I said, but it makes sense. If this is connected to this, if you do this left, you can do this right, and you can do it backwards. It makes sense. He said, but you can't make sense out of something you don't know. I said, I don't know, I just understand it. Then he showed me some techniques, and even then I managed to do transitions. It was like I walked into a language and I understood how to speak the language straight away. He was convinced I was lying. He was convinced that I did judo before or some sort of other martial art. I did not. It was new to me, but I understood it, how it worked. It was like fish in water. It's like going to a Japanese class for your first lesson and you can speak Japanese, like you've been there for 3 years. Alan was blown away. Up to this day, he's not sure how I understood it. And that was the beginning. Within a year, I was a senior black belt. Within a year and a half, I was a senior second dan. I knew every single kata. I knew every single skill, every technique. To me, judo came easy. I understood it so simple. I was a third dan at 16 years old. To me, judo is always and has been and still is slow motion. It's very simple for me. It's something I understand. I think I've been born to do judo. I went on to do Goshinjutsu, Aikido, boxing, karate, Tai Chi. I started many martial arts. Kendo was my second discipline, which I absolutely love and I still practice. I wanted to understand how other martial arts worked to be able to complement judo and vice versa. I believe it's no good to know only one martial art. If you want to understand martial arts, you've got to understand how they work. It's like an ingredient, they're all linked together. And up to today, I use a lot of Aikido in my judo and a lot of other Goshinjutsu disciplines, principles, philosophies. The science behind many martial arts help me understand individual martial arts much better. And that's basically what happened. By me being a naughty boy, I've ended up learning judo, and I've been in a position to help so many people. I hope I'm doing the right job. I've been inspiring and motivating and enhancing and developing judo. Even though I do traditional Japanese judo, I also invent judo, perfect it, improve on it, and find new methods, and also teaching methods as well, which is very important. I'll be honest with everybody, I've never ever intended to be a teacher. I've always wanted to do judo because I enjoy doing judo. It's just something that I understood so well and ended up helping people, and I ended up teaching. Yes, and today I am in a position where I'm an 8th dan, and I hope to continue with my work helping other people benefit from the things that I've felt and I've experienced in judo. So I hope that answers the questions of some people why and how I started judo. Thank you for watching Sampson's Judo. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, make sure you leave some comments. It would be nice to know some of your own comments, how you started judo. And if you have any other further questions, I will try my utmost to answer them. And for those of you that are wondering regarding my claim to being a third dan at 16 years old, I've managed to find my old BJC book. That's the front cover. This is the original book, which was developed by BJC. In the front cover, on the left hand side, you can clearly see my date of birth, which is the 17th of the 2nd, 1960. Unfortunately, my picture has fallen off. It's quite old, and I have covered my address. Inside the book, you can clearly see my grades, which were signed up to 3rd dan by Masutaro Tani, BJC President, 8th dan. The book only goes up to 5th dan. I did get my 6th dan by the BJC. Of course, now I'm 8th dan, and that's from a new organization, the World Judo Federation, which champions traditional Japanese judo. So I hope that clarifies a few things, and I look forward to sharing some more information with you in the future. Thank you for watching.